Greetings, YouTubers, and welcome to my 9th TTM video. Today, I will show you some purchases that I made, and also got some good TTMs through the mail this week. And I will also talk about the 100th giveaway, as we've hit 100 subscribers, so thank you all. The first purchase I made this week was a Hall of Fame Plaque postcard, which I like, and this is Mr. Bill Mazeroski. Maybe I can get a little closer for you. William Stanley Mazeroski, Bill, born in Wheeling, West Virginia. He's 83 years old. Grew up in Ohio. He was an Indians fan, and he originally signed with the Pirates as a shortstop. Played for the Pittsburgh Pirates from 1956 to 72. Had 138 homers, 853 RBIs, batted .260 with just over 2,000 hits. Was a 10-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champ, 8-time Gold Glover. Is a member of the National Polish-American Sports Hall of Fame. Got inducted back in 1979, and in the Baseball Hall of Fame as well. He hit one of the most famous home runs in World Series history, Game 7, 1960 World Series at Forbes Field off the New York Yankees. Ralph Terry served up the pitch, and he drove it over the left field fence, way past Yogi Berra, who was chasing it. Bill Mazeroski, again, got into the Hall of Fame primarily for his glove, which he should have. He was a great fielder. Willie Stargell said he saved more runs than he drove in with his mitt. And again, he's 83, and I like this card. This was a best price thing, give me your best offer, so that's why I like collecting those. Next up is a photo I had to buy of another Hall of Famer, and this one, Mr. Ron Santo. See if I can push this back just a wee bit. There we go. Well, Mr. Ron Santo passed away 10 years ago at the age of 70. A native, was born in Seattle, I should say. Played for the Chicago Cubs from 1960 to 1973, and then for the White Sox from 1970, just for the 1974 season, I should say. Hit .277 lifetime, 2,254 hits, 342 homers, 1,331 runs batted in. Was a 9-time All-Star, 5-time Gold Glover. Was the first player under the collective bargaining agreement to veto a trade. The Chicago Cubs wanted to trade him out to the California Angels way out west. He didn't want to go. He wanted to stay in Chicago, and they traded him to the White Sox. In exchange, the Cubs got 4 players. 2 of them did play in the majors. Catcher Steve Swisher played for the Cubs, and pitcher Steve Stone. And he went on to be a Cy Young winner in 1980 and a broadcaster as well. Ron Santo is inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2012. Sadly, he'd passed away 2 years earlier, but I like the old Cubs, and he had a great documentary, This Old Cub. Check it out. I think it's on Amazon Prime. Next up, I purchased this card. I'll take the big easel out, put the little one in here, and that is Heisman Trophy winner, NFL Hall of Famer, Mr. Earl Campbell. One of the greatest running backs ever. 65 years old, from Tyler, Texas, to Tyler Rose. Went to the University of Texas. Won the Heisman in 1977. Was the first pick in the NFL draft by the Houston Oilers. Played in Houston with the Oilers and then with the New Orleans Saints for the final 2 years of his career. Was a 5-time Pro Bowler. Was NFL MVP in 1979. 3 times led the NFL in rushing. He's in the NFL's all-time 100th anniversary team. Also, he's in the Titans Oilers Ring of Honor. Rushed for 9,407 yards and 74 touchdowns in his career. And in college, played 40 games, rushed for 4,443 yards, 40 touchdowns. He crammed a long career in just a few seasons with the way he played. Straight on ahead. A lot of famous films of him sticking his head and knocking a player over. And, of course, having the jersey torn off his back and still running. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1991 and in the College Football Hall of Fame in 1990. Earl Campbell, certainly one of the greatest players ever. I like this card. And third purchase was another Heisman Trophy winner, Mr. Jim Plunkett. James William Plunkett. Jim, 72 years old, born in San Jose, California, went to Stanford, was the first pick in the NFL draft in 1971 by the Patriots, won the Heisman Trophy in 1970 as the quarterback of Stanford, was the AFC Rookie of the Year in 1971. Played for the Patriots from 1971 to 75, when he was eventually replaced by Steve Grogan. Played for the 49ers from 1976 to 77, and then the Raiders picked him up where he played from 1978 to 86. In 1980, in the fifth game of the season, Raider quarterback Dan Pastorini broke his leg, and Jim Palmer at the time, 32, came in. A lot of people felt he was finished, but he proved them wrong. Led the Raiders to the Super Bowl where they beat the Eagles. He was NFL Comeback Player of the Year that year. Was also the Super Bowl MVP, which was held in New Orleans that year. Two-time Super Bowl champ. A few years later, they beat the Washington team in the Super Bowl in Tampa. Threw for 25,882 yards, 164 touchdowns. Old Jim Plunkett. I like collecting the old Heisman winners as well. And the final purchase I made, going to need the big easel, and this is another Hockey Hall of Famer there, Stan Mikita. Passed away 2 years ago in 2018. He was 78, born in the Slovak Republic, but grew up in Canada. Played for the Chicago Blackhawks from 1958 to 80. Was the MVP in the NHL, 1967-68. Was the leading scorer 4 times, won the 1961 Stanley Cup with the Blackhawks. 541 goals, inducted in the Hall of Fame in 1983. And had the famous cameo, I'd say, in Wayne's World. They had Stan Mikita donuts. That's actually who I found out who he was. And learned more about him. So this was another purchase I made. Like the Hall of Famers. And now for the TTMs that I got. I got some pretty good ones, I think, this week. We got this one. Took about 10 days. Well worth it. This is Mr. Michael Keller Ditka. Mike Ditka, Iron Mike. 80 years old, born out in Carnegie, PA. Went to Aliquippa High School, the University of Pittsburgh, where he was going to be a dentist, believe it or not. He was recruited by Notre Dame and Penn State, but decided to go to Pitt. Ditka was drafted in the first round with the 5th pick by the Chicago Bears in the NFL draft, and in the AFL draft, he was picked in the first round with the 8th pick by the Houston Oilers. Played with the Bears, however, from 1961 to 66. When he tried to get a new contract, he was traded. He made the famous comment about George Halas. He throws nickels around like manhole covers. Then was sent to the Eagles from 1967 to 68, and then wound up with Dallas, 1969 to 1972. He had 427 receptions, 5,812 yards, and 43 career touchdowns. He won the Super Bowl as a tight end. I think this was the picture when he was in the Super Bowl there, Super Bowl VI, when they beat the Miami Dolphins. He also won an NFL championship in 1963 with the Bears. 5-time Pro Bowler, was the 1961 NFL Rookie of the Year. Also made the NFL's 100th anniversary team. Was an assistant coach with the Cowboys from 1973 to 81, where he also got another Super Bowl ring when they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was the Bears head coach from 1982 to 92, where of course he won Super Bowl 20 as the head coach, one of the greatest single-season teams ever. Was 2-time Coach of the Year with the Bears in 85 and also in 1988 when they lost to the 49ers in the NFC title game, and was the Saints head coach in 1997 and 1995. He had 121 wins as head coach of all the teams, 56% winning percentage. Was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 1986. 2 years later, was inducted to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He was the first tight end ever to get inducted into the Hall of Fame. I sent the one with the Cowboy uniform on because I have him in a couple of Bears ones, so I figured Cowboys, let's try that. I got to get him in an Eagles picture as well. He signed Hall of Fame 88, which was nice. I asked him to sign Super Bowl VI champs, but this is just as good. I sent him $10. It took, again, about 10 days. And I just like to send a little something when a big picture's coming in. Next up, I got 2 cards from Lexington, Kentucky. Took 8 days to get these cards, but great college basketball player, Mr. Cliff Hagan. good old Clifford Oldham Hagen, 88 years old, born in Owensboro, Kentucky. Went to Owensboro High School, the University of Kentucky, from 1950 to 54, where he helped his team win an NCAA championship in 1951. In the NBA draft of 1953, he was picked in the third round, 21st overall, by the Boston Celtics. However, he wound up serving in the Army for 2 years. The Air Force. Pardon me. That was a mistake there. Served in the Air Force for 2 years, served out at Andrews Air Force Base in Maryland. And then the Boston Celtics made one of the biggest trades in NBA history. They sent him and Ed McCauley to the St. Louis Hawks for the draft rights for a guy by the name of Bill Russell. And the rest, of course, is history for the Celtics there. That was a great trade. He played with the Hawks from 1956 to 1966. However, they did win an NBA championship in 1958, so they did get something out of that before they moved to Atlanta. And then went to the ABA, the Dallas Chaparrals, from 1967 to 69. He was also their coach as well, from 67 to 70. A 5-time NBA All-Star. He was also an ABA All-Star in 1968. 14,780 points. He was the first University of Kentucky player to be enshrined in the Hall of Fame in 1978. And went to the College Basketball Hall of Fame in 2006. So this was free of charge. Sent 2, both there, the Kentucky outfit. The next one came from Boston, Massachusetts, right up in that area. Lexington, I should say, on the postmark there. And this took 12 days. This is Mr. Jim Lonborg. Pitcher with the Boston Red Sox. He's 78. Grew up out in California. Went to San Luis Obispo High School and Stanford U. Signed with the Red Sox in 1963. Played for them from 1965 to 71. Then for 1 season in 72 with the Brewers and finished up with the Phillies. From 1973 to 79. Was an All-Star in 1967 when he won the Cy Young Award that year. He led the AL in wins and strikeouts. Hurt his knee skiing in the winter of 1967 there, and had a lot of knee injuries after that point. Wound up with 157 wins, 3.86 ERA, 1,475 strikeouts. And was the first Red Sox pitcher to win the Cy Young in 1967. Pitched on 3 Philly teams, 1976, 77, and 78, that went to the postseason as NL East champs, but lost to the Reds and the Dodgers. And was inducted into the Boston Red Sox Hall of Fame and is currently a dentist in Massachusetts. I sent him this one card. Didn't ask for any inscriptions. He put on Cy Young 67, so that was nice of him. And finally, the last one, coming from South Carolina. Got a couple of good returns from Mr. Bobby Richardson. Sent him 3 cards. Also sent him $10. Jim Lonborg was free. Bobby Richardson I sent a donation to. And he also sent a pamphlet as well. I skipped that. He sent this Mickey Mantle pamphlet, his final inning. He even did a little inscription on the back there for me, so that was nice of him. Bobby Richardson, native of South Carolina, still lives down there. Was recruited by the University of North Carolina and Georgia Tech to play, but decided to sign with the Yankees. That was his favorite team. He was recruited by 11 of 16 MLB Major League teams, at least showed interest in him. Played for the Yankees from 1955 to 66. Was an 8-time All-Star, 3-time World Series champ, 5-time Gold Glover. Was the World Series MVP, even though the Yankees lost in 1960 to the Pirates. He hit .266, 34 homers, 390 RBIs, 1,432 hits, and had a .979 fielding percentage. Struck out only 243 times in his career, and that's less than 5% of his plate appearances. Afterwards, he was head coach at the University of South Carolina's baseball team, and then the Coastal Carolina University. Ran for the House of Representatives in 1976 in South Carolina and lost. He got 48.3% of the vote. His campaign was supported by guys like Joe DiMaggio, Ted Williams, and Bob Feller. But that was the year Jimmy Carter won, so I think that helped his opponent a little bit. Again, this was about a $10. This was a $10 fee, but I sent him 3 cards. He inscribed on one of them, World Series MVP in the long run. Signed the other two there. Nice cards. Very nice gentleman to sign those. Now, as we reached 100 subscribers, I'm going to have a 100 subscriber giveaway. What I've got to give away are some cards and some photos. I've got this card, if you're a hockey fan, of Dave the Hammer Schultz. Right there. This comes with a certificate of authenticity from Mr. Schultz. Right from him. Also, I've got one from Ed Too Tall Jones. A little football there for you. Another football is Mr. Kenny Anderson. Signed the Topps Archives card there. And then I got Mr. Dick Groat on the Swell baseball card. Well, you can't see that. I'll move it over. There you go. Mr. Dick Groat's in there too. I also got a Hall of Famer here for a baseball card. Mr. Harold Baines. This one wearing an O's uniform. Got a 1963 Bobby Shantz with the St. Louis Cardinals on this one. And then I've got Mr. Dwight Gooden, Dr. K, on the Topps card. And another football card, Mr. Tom Rathman. So I got 8 cards right there. Then I've got a a Hall of Fame postcard, the late great Mr. Bobby Dorr. I'll get him up there if you can see him in the back. There he is. Put number 1 on there. He passed away a couple years ago. And then finally I got a autograph of a former Chicago Cub, the late Andy Pafko. You can see him in the back. He put 1945 Cubs on the, let me get it down a little bit. Put 1945 Cubs on the sign, on the signature there. So, and I also got 2 packs of opening day cards from 2019. Got these in the box I bought at Walmart. So I should have about 12 items here. Now all you got to do is, if you're a subscriber, just click like and leave a little comment at the bottom there so we know you want to be entered into it. And if you're not a subscriber and want to enter, please subscribe and leave a comment. As we're looking for our next giveaway at 125, $1.25, since we've hit the century mark. I hope these are good things to give away to you nice folks who enter. I want to thank you all for watching. Stay healthy, stay safe, and take care until number 10.